I'm Patrick Van Slyke. I'm your host, and with me is my good friends Gino and Steven from film class at Cal State LA, where we're all hoping to become the next Steven Spielberg. And so when we last took our break, we were starting to talk about some of our influences. So Steven, who are some of the influences? What has influenced you and made you want to make movies?
Well, initially, I started out as a musician.
Oh, okay.
And I took up playing the drums and at a very young age, 15 years old. And so my original course in life was gonna be a drummer. I was gonna become a drummer, and that never went anywhere besides being in a couple of bands and not even a demo or anything like that.
Oh, sure.
But I've always had an interest in film, and and while I was in high school, I wrote little stories.
Oh, yeah.
And made little films that won little prizes in my high school.
Oh, wow.
My films were always the best ones because I always tried to do something a little bit different than everybody else was doing, like teenage stuff and prom night or whatever.
Right.
I was always, focused on like influence. I was always influenced by films about anti-heroes.
Oh, okay. All right.
And science fiction.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. How about you, Gino? What got you started on this path?
It's like it's a long story. Very long.
We got all day.
It's a very long story. But when I grew up as a kid, one of my favorite thing was listening to the radio.
Okay.
At 9 in the morning, it's the story time for children.
Oh.
And I always like 9 in the morning, I'll be hawking the radio, and I'll lay down and just close my eyes and listen to great stories and great tales in my country.
Oh, wow.
And I love listening to them telling stories.
Sure.
Tales of my native people in my country. Mm-hmm. And then I remember the first time that movie came to my village. There was no electricity, nothing, and
wow.
And my great-grandmother thought the movie was the devil and not allow me to go, right?
Oh, my God.
And I had to sneak out.
Oh, wow.
And because they were running electric generator. There was no... This was like in the 80s, early 80s.
Mm-hmm. On an island.
On an island. There's no electricity. And once I heard the generator running, and everybody says, "Oh, that's the movie. We're going to the movies."
Right.
So my first experience watching movie, they did it in the town hall, and the town hall was built with timber. Aluminum.
Oh, wow.
It was all covered with aluminum.
Sure.
And my first experience, I couldn't pay my way in. They have to pay with coconut.
Wow.
That was the price to go into the movie, was coconut. Because coconut at the time was very big, you export it.
Oh,
right.
I see.
So everyone has to pay with coconut.
It had currency.
Yeah, so I was young, I couldn't climb up a coconut or get coconut on my own. So I joined the other kids with my same situation. We picked a nail hole. It was more like a peephole.
Oh, sure.
And that's my first experience in movie.
What movie was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember the exact movie.
Yeah.
But it was like a kung fu movie.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Long. It was a Chinese kung fu, like long hair.
Oh, yeah.
Kung fu movie. And
did it freak you out?
It was like I was like mesmerized. I was like stuck to that nail hole.
Right.
Everybody get a peephole.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to be a peeping Tom, but it was on the movie, right?
Wow. You gotta watch that movie.
Yeah. And from that that was the moment for me.
Wow, that's neat.
That was the moment for me. And then I moved to the main island. They have an actual movie theater.
Oh yeah.
And then it was crazy because I moved to the main island and I'm like, now I get actually to go watch movies.
Right.
So I get to the movie theater and I have to pay, right? I don't have money.
No
I
more
don't have money,
coconuts.
right? No more coconuts. And I move in with my uncle and he won't give me any money. So what I do, I went and stand in front of the lady who's collecting the ticket. And I stare at her. And this is like a 3 movie. It was on a Saturday. And they
Triple bill.
They have 3 movie, right?
Wow.
And I stand right there, and people are going in, and I'm staring at the old lady, staring. Never take my eyes off her, staring. And then she finally let me in.
That is great.
Wow.
She finally let me in.
That is awesome.
And when I walk in, the credit runs up.
Oh.
It was at the last movie.
Oh no.
Yeah, I walk in. She finally let me in, and I walk in, and
It's over.
I walk in. Everybody goes out, and I'm like, "Why is everybody goes out?" And I'm fighting my way in. I want to see the actual movie theater, right? I've never been in a movie theater in my life. I want to see.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I fight my way in, and then I get in, and everybody walking out, and the first thing I see was the credits
Oh man.
coming out.
But at least you got to see the movie theater.
And that was my first experience in a movie theater.
Wow. That is pretty
And-
awesome.
The following week, I asked all my family member for 50 cents here, 20 cents there.
Wow.
Friday, Saturday, it's movie day for me.
Oh wow.
Like, that's how I get afford to watch movie. And I said to myself, I
This
want to
is
be
it.
in movie.
That's great.
Yeah, that's how I fell
very
in love
cool.
with movies. Yeah.
I
Wow,
did,
that's-
you know,
wow, that's-
I had never thought about being in movies, and this is something we can talk about because, well, first of all, I grew up in Wyoming, so I never thought I would be in California, which is, you know, where the movie capital of the world. And then when I did come to California, there's so many people trying to get into it. For instance, then this is a fact: SAG, the union, 2% of SAG works full time. It is the union that has the least amount of full-time workers in the world. SAG is, and so and the reason because everybody from everywhere come to California,
yeah.
to be
Wow.
a movie star.
Movie star, yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so it just never occurred to me, you know, because I thought, well, there's nothing special about me, you know. I'm good looking, but I'm not that good looking. Well, I mean, I'm probably
yeah,
good
yeah,
looking, but
yeah.
nobody knows it.
Oh, you're way up there. You're way up there.
Oh yeah, you know. So, but then I fell into this job here, and we started to make little films, and
Yeah.
and I changed my major, and so. You know, and there's so much independent stuff going on now.
Yeah.
That's true.
Especially with everything going digital, you know.
Yeah.
Like 10 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to make a film because you would have actually
No.
needed film.
Film,
you
yes,
know,
yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And you would have been slicing it to
Yeah.
actually make the edits.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, anybody with a cell phone can make a
Yeah.
film. You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Absolutely.
Obviously, with equipment like yours or with equipment like this, we can make something that has more detail, more depth, you know, stuff like that. But anybody can make a movie now. So,
Yeah.
Right.
Stephen, do you believe that you will be able to make a living out of making movies?
Well, that's my goal.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, my goal is to be able to make a living out of it. Whether it's gonna support me for the rest of my life, I don't know. I don't know what the chances are. Right now, it's probably a 50-50 chance.
Sure.
But if I could, you know, if I could go to some place where, for example, I went to Mexico a few years ago, more than a few years ago, and I was on the shoot of one of my cousin's films in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, one of her independent films. So I got real life experience being in. It was a sort of rural like deserty Mexico.
Okay.
So I was just hanging out. I wasn't really doing anything.
Yeah.
But I got to see how other countries
Yeah.
Have taken the bull by the horn, so to speak.
Sure.
And they're making movies.
Right.
They're cranking out
Yeah.
Mexican movies,
Right.
every year. And so in Los Angeles, it's like sort of like confining and constricting.
Right.
And you can only do so much, and like for example, I've never been. I'm in the film school with you. Mm-hmm. We're in the same department, but I've never been to the on top of where the media building is.
Yeah.
And for one, I just think that it would be kind of not unfriendly, but just a place where it's like a lot of politics go on there.
Okay.
Like no, we're working on this, and if you want to play with the editors, you have to be a part of this.
Right.
This project.
Yeah.
And you have to contribute to this project, and if you're not, then you can't play around with editors
Right.
and stuff.
You can't be part of it.
Right. Because in my community college, it was just like that, very cliquish.
Oh, I see. Got it.
And that's what it's like in colleges and in the film in the film industry. It's very cliquish.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. In the film industry, it is absolutely who you know.
Yeah.
Gino, do you see yourself making a career out of making movies?
I like to make movies, but not for the purpose of financial gain. I don't think about the financial gain side of it. I'm thinking about the all the technicality side
Oh, sure.
of making a movie. Mm-hmm. And I think the hardest part to make a movie is actually making, because when I went to community college, there's a lot of talking. People talk.
Oh, yes.
Everybody talk. Let's make a movie, and time goes by. 2 years later, there's no one movie.
Right.
And then I don't like to do that when I go to Cal State LA. I'm afraid of falling into that hole of like planning
And not getting
and not
anything,
going to the stage
Right.
of executing it.
Yeah.
So
a lot of talk and no action.
yes, and yes,
That's
and,
true.
and that comes with setting bigger challenge. Like for example, like some student would say, let's make a feature movie.
Yeah.
That's easy to say.
Right.
Executing is gonna be hard and is gonna be a big job. So
You bet.
that's why I like to start small
Yeah.
and make a small short film,
Yeah.
8 to 10 minutes.
Right.
But at least I don't know. I'm not making it to make money out of it. I'm making it to get a start, get something off.
That's right.
Like we're doing today. Like I
Yeah.
was like, I really like your idea.
Yeah.
Of doing it, and I like doing.
Right.
It's so I'm not really like the guy that like to plan.
Yeah. Just a lot of talk.
Yeah, a lot of talking.
And I know you guys probably thought that when I told you, that I work here, that we have access to this equipment, because a lot of people do talk.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just like, oh, we've got these great big plans, and that's what I tell everybody when they want to use the studio here, because I've seen people come in and they get here and then they start planning. And it's like, you're not going to get anything done.
No.
When you're ready to you got to be ready to shoot.
Yes,
Right. You have to be past the planning stage. Everybody has to know their parts. Everybody has to know what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it, and you have to have everything prepared in advance. If you do that, then you're going to make a movie.
Absolutely.
But if you don't, you're going to just sit there and talk.
Absolutely.
That reminds me of being in the music world.
Oh, sure.
Well, because everybody in the music world has big plans of becoming a big time musician, a professional musician, and most of them are really good.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I became a really good drummer in just a few years, but to take that next step is you have to collaborate with other like-minded musicians.
Yes.
Right.
And then if the cards are in your favor, then
Yeah.
you can make a career out of becoming a musician. But it's the same way. It's hard. It's competitive.
Yes.
So the music world and the film world are like
Oh yeah.
hand in hand.
Yes,
like
they
that.
are. They're
Yeah.
very similar.
Very similar.
And all true art is. And as a matter of fact, let's take a break here.
Okay.
And then when we come back, let's talk about it because the history of film is very interesting. And
Yes.
then I want to get into your guys' main influences. Okay?
Okay.
So let's take a quick break here. Stay with us, and we'll be back in just a few seconds.
Okay.
All right.